The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession, the Kardashian family photo, that started a literal war between the sisters.
Oh, absolutely. It is wild how one single image can just, detonate an entire empire.
Right. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie, meaning us, as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is, well, it's a massive one. We are unpacking the Kardashian-Jenner family's incredibly intense relationship with image control.
Yeah, we have a huge stack of sources today. We're talking entertainment articles, TV transcripts, TMZ reports, and some really deep Reddit threads.
It is a lot of ground to cover.
It is. So let's unpack this. Because for most of us, family photo is just a memory for an album. But for this family, a photograph is a branding tool, a digital shield, and sometimes a weapon for sibling warfare.
Right, and to really understand the mechanics of that control, we have to look at what happens when the control is forcibly taken away.
Exactly. Which brings us to the first piece of this puzzle. Let's go back to 2018. Kylie Jenner had just given birth to her daughter, Stormi.
A huge pop culture moment.
Huge. And initially, she followed the standard playbook, right? She posted these beautifully lit, just adorable photos of her newborn on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But then, abruptly, the photos vanish.
Every single image showing the baby's face was just gone.
Gone. And eventually, she uploaded a selfie where she was lying next to Stormi, but she had deliberately and quite aggressively cropped the baby entirely out of the frame.
And the public reaction to that was instantaneous, and incredibly cynical.
Oh, yeah. The comment sections were brutal.
They really were.
Huh.
The prevailing narrative was that Kylie was just prioritizing her own aesthetic over her child. People assume reality TV stars lack basic parental instincts, so they just concluded she didn't want the baby ruining her selfie.
But an account called Comments by Celebs actually captured Kylie's blunt reply to a user. She said, "Yeah, I cut my baby out. I'm not sharing photos of my girl right now."
Which is such a raw response.
It is. And when you dig into the sources from that time, the actual reason for that crop is deeply disturbing. The comments under the infant's pictures had become intensely toxic. Trolls were actively spreading a vicious conspiracy theory about the baby's paternity.
Right, the volume of the harassment was just overwhelming. Commenters were aggressively asserting that Stormi's father wasn't Travis Scott, but actually Kylie's former bodyguard, Tim Chung.
And this wasn't just a fringe whisper, It dominated the narrative on every single post. Trolls were demanding to know when she was going to find out who the real daddy is.
They were constantly comparing the infant's facial features to different men in Kylie's orbit. It was gross.
So gross. And the momentum of the rumor forced the surreal breaking of the fourth wall. Tim Chung, a professional bodyguard whose entire job is to be invisible, he had to issue a public statement to the press.
Which is a severe anomaly in that industry. A security professional stepping into the spotlight. He had to publicly label the rumors ridiculous and plead with the media to leave him out of it.
The digital harassment was so potent it breached physical security protocols. So Kylie's solution is to take digital scissors to her own child. She basically builds a digital privacy fence.
That's a great way to put it.
But doesn't this strategy just create a mystery box? If you delete the photos, the trolls don't suddenly go away. Don't they just get louder because they think they struck a nerve?
Well, the psychology there is a calculated starvation tactic. Trolls require raw material, data points to sustain a conspiracy.
Right, they needed the photos for their weird side-by-side comparisons.
Exactly. By cropping Stormi out, Kylie denies them the visual evidence they need to keep the narrative going. You have to remember, Kylie grew up heavily monitored by paparazzi. She understands the trauma of unconsented fame.
She is trying to shield her daughter from the exact machine that built her empire. Is this the ultimate paradox of reality TV? A family famous for sharing their real lives is forced to aggressively censor that reality just for their own sanity.
This raises an important question, though. Because while Kylie used cropping to protect her family, within the sisterhood itself, the crop is used very differently.
Oh, totally. It transforms from a protective shield into a highly effective and honestly hilarious weapon. And that brings us to the headline of today's deep dive. The Kardashian family photo that started a war between the sisters.
The weaponization of the crop.
Yes. The prime example is the infamous hashtag Diddy crop moment.
Oh, this is legendary internet lore.
So good. Kim posts this wholesome, nostalgic throwback photo of herself and Khloe as preteens at a Benihana, and Kylie, who clearly hated how she looked in the background, marches into the public comments and just issues a command.
Delete this immediately.
Right. A universally relatable sibling reaction. But Kim doesn't delete it. Instead, she fires back with the ultimate digital threat. She says, "Should I Diddy crop you out?"
Which is just a brilliant pop culture reference.
It is. And for you listening, if you aren't familiar with the origin of the Diddy crop, we have to rewind to the 2017 Met Gala.
Right. Sean Diddy Combs posted an incredible photo from the event featuring himself, Migos, Wiz Khalifa, and Jaden Smith.
A super powerful, stylized image. But the internet quickly unearthed the original unedited photograph. And it turns out the original frame included Kendall and Kylie standing on the edges of the group.
Diddy had seamlessly and ruthlessly severed them from the image before posting it.
Just amputated them from the narrative. And when Ellen DeGeneres asked him about it on TV, he completely deadpanned and blamed a rogue photography editor. He claimed his editor just randomly takes people out of pictures.
The internet seized on this immediately. The Diddy crop hashtag was born. It became this viral shorthand for aggressively removing unwanted people from your life.
And the Kardashians, who are hyper-vigilant about internet culture, immediately started weaponizing it against each other. And the sources show they deploy it constantly.
Oh, yeah, like when Kendall cropped Kylie out of a sister selfie during Kylie's GQ cover era.
Yes. The fans, who act like digital archivists, instantly recognized the source photo. They started heavily trolling Kendall, accusing her of cropping that billionaire out out of pure jealousy.
Kendall had to issue a frantic apology to her on her feed. She posted a rapid-fire series of Kylie photos, calling her an alien sister to try and calm the backlash.
And we see it again with Kylie posting a Mother's Day photo featuring Kris, their grandmother MJ, Kendall, and Kim. Kourtney realizes she's missing and comments, "Did you crop me out?"
Kylie's response was chillingly casual. She said, "Have you ever heard of Facetune Vanish?"
I mean, she admitted it was a different picture eventually, but she is casually joking about using a blemish removal tool to eradicate a human being from a family memory.
It highlights a complete normalization of reality modification. Erasing a sibling is treated with the same weight as adjusting the contrast.
But they also use it to settle deep-seated scores. Like for Kourtney's 21st birthday bash, Kourtney posted a super glamorous photo. Kylie comments, "You're so interesting to look at."
Which sounds like an awkward compliment if you don't know the lore.
Right. But it's a targeted strike. It's a surgical reference to that toxic keeping up with the Kardashians fight over the Christmas card shit.
Where Kim called Kourtney the least exciting to look at.
Exactly. But wait, I have to push back here. Taking a feud where your sister was literally sobbing on TV and turning it into an Instagram joke, doesn't that just make them look incredibly dysfunctional?
Well, actually, it's a brilliant branding strategy. It neutralizes the tabloids. If the media says the family is fractured, the family loses the narrative. By making it an inside joke, they reclaim their own trauma.
You can't use their pain against them if they are already using it as a punchline.
Exactly. They signal to their fans that they survived the dysfunction and are in on the joke.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We have got even crazier stories ahead. Because while Facetune vanishing a sister is treated as a game, this obsession with pixel-perfect curation has a really dark side.
The psychological toll of hypervisibility is compounding. When your public identity and your financial empire are tied to a two-dimensional image, the pressure is crushing.
Which brings us back to Khloe Kardashian. Fans previously called out a massive Photoshop fail in a walk-in closet selfie for a good American ad.
The famous warped bench.
Yes. The wooden bench behind her was completely bent. But beyond the bench, she had edited her face so heavily that top comments were genuinely asking, "Kim, is that you?" Or, "I thought this was Kylie."
She had literally edited her features until she physically resembled her sisters. And to understand that, you have to look at the psychological conditioning Khloe endured.
Right.
For a decade, she was relentlessly categorized by the media as the fat sister or the ugly sister. Digital tools offered a seductive solution to finally fit the mold.
But the internet demands consistency, which is why the 2021 unedited bikini photo leak on Reddit was such a massive crisis. Her legal team scrambled to scrub this completely normal, unauthorized photo from the internet.
And their aggressive response issuing copyright takedowns was a catastrophic miscalculation. It triggered the Streisand effect on a massive algorithmic scale.
A lawyer issues a takedown. The photo gets removed, so the community notices the censorship. Another user creates a mirror link, specifically highlighting that the Kardashian team is trying to hide it.
The algorithm detects the controversy and pushes it to the front page. The legal team's panic actually functioned as the promotional engine for the image they wanted destroyed.
And later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming with Kris Jenner. But sticking with Khloe for a second, here is where it gets really interesting. Khloe recently confessed on her Khloe in Wonderland podcast about this.
Right, she admitted she used to edit her photos so heavily she looked like a cartoon.
She said the dissonance between her edited photos and unfiltered paparazzi shots was destroying her mental health.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is like an AI model suffering from data degradation. She was training her self-image on heavily edited avatars. She wasn't competing with other women, she was competing against a synthesized version of herself.
The tools meant to give her control over her bullies became a mental prison. And that is not even the wildest part, because this intense curation bleeds directly into how they manage their real-life relationships.
Orchestrated by the matriarch herself, Kris Jenner.
Yes. Kris doesn't just curate photos, she curates reality. There's this hilarious TV transcript where Kim and Khloe are competing to be Kris's favorite daughter.
Kris casually mentions that Kylie is currently her favorite because she surprised Kris with a white Smeg toaster and a massage.
Which triggers a deeply ingrained competitive panic in Kim and Khloe. Kris establishes a system of transactional affection based on luxury gifts.
So Khloe goes to Kris's house and painstakingly reorganizes her entire massive pantry. Custom baskets, specific dividers, just intense physical labor.
Because she knows Kris demands absolute aesthetic perfection. But Kim uses brute financial force. She literally shuts down a Saks Fifth Avenue to take Kris on a private shopping spree for designer sunglasses.
Kim actually says on the transcript, "My mom's other kids are dead to her after the Saks trip."
They are completely invested in destroying Kylie's standing. But the brilliant punchline, the reality check hits during a family gathering. Someone brings up the toaster.
And Kylie looks genuinely confused. She says, "I didn't get her a toaster. I don't even get massages."
The illusion shatters in real time. Kim and Khloe realized there was no toaster. Kris completely scammed her older daughters into giving her free labor and luxury gifts.
Kris sat at the center, happily absorbing it all.
But wait, isn't Kris just doing in real life what her daughters do on Instagram? She is photoshopping her reality, editing the truth to get the exact results she wants from her kids.
That is exactly what she's doing. Cropping a photo is functionally identical to cropping the truth to manipulate an outcome. She filters information to ensure she extracts maximum resources.
And the revenge is amazing. Kim and Khloe corner Kris, and Khloe smashes pieces of a Hanson's cake directly into Kris's face.
It is the ultimate rebellion against Kris's need for perfect curation. It forces physical, messy reality back into the room.
It really does. So we've seen how this family uses the concept of the crop everywhere. Kylie uses it to protect her kids. The sisters weaponize it to shade each other and control the tabloids.
Khloe fell victim to it, warping her own self-image, and Kris uses it to manipulate her children's affections.
It shows that even the most powerful influencers are incredibly vulnerable to the pressures of perception. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the tools they use, the crop, the filter, are the exact same ones sitting in your pocket right now.
Which leaves you with something critical to mull over. We are rapidly entering an era dominated by AI generation and deepfakes. If the public entirely stops believing what they see, how does an empire built exclusively on photographic proof survive? When the crop and the filter are no longer enough, how much of your own digital life are you subconsciously curating just to survive the internet?
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.